Good day, people of the internet. Today, I'll be talking to you about dungeons. So some of you are going to be wondering, why am I discussing dungeons? They're now dead content for ArenaNet. Well, they're in-game, but they're no longer being developed for. The rewards have been nerfed, and people do not run them as much. Well, I'm discussing them because people are still wondering how they do dungeons, whether it's for achievements or because they need tokens for the first-gen legendaries or for armor. Dungeons are 5-man instant content that revolve around a small zone within the world of Tyria, whether it's over in the Ascalon Catacombs over in Ascalon, or in a manor over in Queensdale. Dungeons no longer have content being produced for them. ArenaNet has moved the 5-man content over to fractals. So the way the dungeon works is you progress through a linear path to actually progress the dungeon, where you have to deal with trash mobs and kill bosses, and push events every so often of either kill this big boss or succeed in this defense or move these objects. It's dynamic events just progressing you through a dungeon. If you fail the event, you have to restart that small section. So after you complete a boss or one of these dynamic events, a chest or a waypoint will spawn, sometimes both, and then you'll continue on to the next dynamic event. When you go to these dungeons, you will be scaled down to whatever dungeon it is. So if you're level 80 going to the level 35 Ascalon Catacombs, you'll be scaled down to level 35. High-end stats on armor, weapons, trinkets will be making a difference still, so you still should be geared out if you're going to go for these and speed run them or whatever. To get to the dungeons, there's a couple ways to get to them. First, you have to be in the zone. That's for any of the methods. Second, you either need someone in your party to open up the instance, and then if you're in the zone with them, don't have to be in the same instance of the map, just in the same zone. You'll have a small prompt come up on your screen saying, hey, do you want to enter the dungeon? And you can enter the dungeon. If your party members are in the dungeon and you don't get the prompt saying you can enter the dungeon, waypoint to a waypoint that is out of your visual range, because you need to just reload the map and then the prompt will come up. Another way you can enter the dungeon is simply going over to the dungeon and entering it. You can even do this if an instance of the dungeon is already open. If you do happen to be in another instance of a dungeon and then join a party that's in another instance, the two instances will not merge. You have to have one of those groups leave the dungeon and then re-enter the dungeon back into the instance where everyone else is. So, there are two types of instances for dungeons. There is story mode and explorable. We're going to talk about story mode first because that's where most people start off. So once you reach a certain level, an in-game mail will be sent to you saying, we need your help at the Ascalon Catacombs or Twilight Arbor. You go to them and then you'll start doing the story mode in that dungeon. The story mode for a dungeon actually runs kind of parallel to the personal story, where the dungeon story takes you on the storyline that involves the members of Destiny's Edge, while personal story is just you. The two stories do merge at the final personal story mission in Ore. So, after you progress through the story mode, do everything a normal dungeon would have a couple cutscenes here and there, kill mobs, you'll be rewarded at the end. The rewards are decent. Well, not really decent. You get 50 silver for the reward, which story mode dungeons take a long time to do, so you don't want to be running story mode all the time because it's only 50 silver. It's not that much for the amount of time invested. But also what you get for story mode is you will unlock explorable mode for that character. That being said, all characters in the party don't need story mode done. You just need one person in the party who's completed the story to actually open up the explorable instance for all your other party members to come in. The other reward you get for completing story is the PvP reward track. Once you earn the reward track, it's account bound. You don't have to go do story mode again and again to get it. And what you get from this reward track is various loot from the dungeon. You can get tokens, the exotic weapons and armor, as well as champion loot bags that come from the dungeon. So, moving on to explorable. Whenever people talk about dungeons, this is the mode they mean. Whenever they say, I'm going to go run dungeons, they mean explorable. Explorable is the branching part of dungeons, where you have this big map where you have to run around for story mode. Now it's concentrated into 3 paths, 4 if you're in the raw. So you might be wondering, what do you get from explorable mode? What you get is more rewards. You will get dungeon tokens for progressing along in the dungeon. From chests and mobs, they'll drop bags of tokens. It'll be 3 tokens, but that will add up over time. As well as every time you complete a dungeon, you will get tokens. So you might be wondering, what are these tokens spent on? They are spent on armor, weapons, runes and sigils, and various other crafting and consumable rewards. The weapons are level 80 exotic weapons, and the armor can either be a rare armor of that dungeon level, so 35 for Ascalon Catacombs or 80 for a raw. But you also have access to exotic level 80 gear, which have their own exclusive skins. So when you actually complete the explorable path, you'll be receiving 2 chests. There'll be a little like wiggle chest you get on the side. Actually, one of them isn't a wiggle chest, it just appears on your screen and then you press accept. The other one's a little wiggle chest. So doing the dungeon rewards you with the standard chest and the daily chest. The standard chest is what is the rewards you get for completing the path. This is 20 Imperial Shards, 26 Silver, and 20 tokens with some experience. Possibly some karma. I haven't looked into it to actually say, yes, you get karma, but the wiki says you do get karma. If you do the same path over and over again, you'll get progressively less tokens. You'll still get the same amount of experience, silver, and Imperial Shards, so it's best to do a path once a day. The other reward you get is the daily chest. This means you've done Ascalon Catacombs Path 1, here's a daily chest. Ascalon Catacombs Path 2, here's a daily chest, so on and so forth. Once you earn this chest for the day, you have to wait till the daily reset happens to earn this chest again. And within the chest, you'll get about 35 silver and 40 shards. The 40 shards are static, all the chests have them. The gold or coin or whatever, that will vary. It will be either 35 for most dungeons, but a couple of them will give you 50 silver if you complete it, or if you go do the raw ones, which take a long time to do. Well, some of them take longer than others, you'll get a couple gold. So I hope this video was informative in some way, and that maybe not everyone will be turned off of doing dungeons. They're still kind of rewarding, especially getting those tokens for armor and weapons is very helpful. But if you enjoyed the video, hit like, comment, subscribe, hit me up on the Twitters and the comment section below, and have a day.